Ranked matchups always elevate the pressure. The heart beats a little faster. It gets a little more intense, particularly if that team across the field is a conference foe. And that's exactly what we have in this showdown coming up. Welcome between the hedges to Athens, Georgia and Sanford Stadium, home of the Georgia Bulldogs. As we'll see a team looking to make it back to the CFP this year, the LSU Tigers, taking on a team from the playoff a year ago, the Georgia Bulldogs. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth by a couple of legends, and yes, we do use that term loosely. David Pollack from the University of Georgia and former Gator. LSU ready to kick it away to get things started. He'll start the return inside his 5. So Georgia's offense will go on the attack first. Using his legs, it's Frazier. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. Looking to throw, it's Stockton. Under fire. And that defense gets to him, and down he goes at the 9.
And this offense comes out first down, tries to run the football, no answer. Second down, they go for the pass, they give up the sack. This defense on point early in the football game with 2 great plays.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. They'll send the tight end in motion. On 3rd and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. Quickly out to the tight end. And that had all the makings of bug meat windshield, but how about the little corner taking on the big tight end and keeping him from getting the first? They make the stop, and that is exactly what you want out of your punt cover unit. So LSU's offense will try to get something started with their first possession. And they're going to have to contend with a secondary that is one of the best in the nation, Jesse.
And they're a complete secondary, too. When you watch them on film, they're very good defending the pass and coverage, and they can play man and zone. But I like them, David, because they're not afraid to put their face in the fan. Everybody in...
There he goes! And a nice pickup on the line and gets down to avoid contact.
It's just so hard to stop. There is no rhyme. There is no reason. He just scrambles around, makes people miss, and the next thing you know, you look up and he's 20, 30 yards down the field, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Handoff to the lone back. Pulled down at the 11-yard line as they inch closer and closer to pay dirt. Going to work on 2nd down, and the red zone is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. He'll pull it on the read. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers!
And you see the option being such a pain in the behind of the best programs in college football. When you got quarterbacks that have those multiple options, they're making you play very disciplined, and the QB takes it himself, gets in for the score.
Setting up for the extra point after the first score of the game. And with the extra point, they get the first 7 of the game. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And it was punctuated by an 11-yard run for the score. And he takes this from inside the 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So they start this drive from inside their own 20 at the 19-yard line. Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. Got his man downfield. Building momentum, picking up a chunk of yardage, moving the chains out to the 34. On the run, it's Frazier. You'll take 4 yards on first down every time, 2nd and 6. Looking downfield, it's Stockton. And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical in pass deep. Couldn't find his man last time, and that leaves him with a 3rd and 6. From the gun, wants to pass. Pressure is on the way, and the pressure has arrived, and down he goes at the 30.
Man, this defense has been so impressive to watch. Look at them. Get to the quarterback, get the sack. They play so fast. It's like they have 12 men on the field. Another good performance going down right now. Coming off of last week, putting a goose egg on the board against their last opponent.
Georgia sent out the punt team. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. Nestles it in at the 35. The solid return there offsets some of the punt yardage and really sets up this offense nicely. Looking to throw on 1st down. And the defense gets home and makes a play at the 37-yard line. If there's ever been a position group that sort of identifies with the team's mascot, it would be the bulldog mentality of this Georgia front.
Those hunkering down dogs up front, they got to hunker down and stop the run and be physical. And then guess what? It gets into passing situations. Now I'm quick. Now I'm on the edge. Now I'm making that quarterback's life a living,
And he feels the heat coming and it burns him up. Another sack.
And how about that back-to-back sack? You want 2 sacks in a game? That's a great game. He is flying around, getting to that quarterback and getting him on the ground.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to turn one loose downfield. Finds his man. It's Green. He's stopped short, and it's 4th down. LSU will bring the punt team on the field. Getting our first look of the afternoon at the punter. First one of the day is off. He was called on 3 times in that victory last week. This drive will open from the 15. To the air, it's Stockton. Looking to the big tight end. Wide open downfield. And they'll get it to the 39-yard line, and they'll move the chains.
That's an absolute strike right there. Giving me some Stetson Bennett vibes, some Aaron Murray vibes, even Matthew Stafford with the arm talent on that throw. I'll tell you, they can attack any spot of the field in the passing game because of this guy's talent.
Wants to throw on 1st down off the play fake. Caught in the backfield. It's Frazier. And the defense... No pickup at all on that play. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on second down. Gets it out fast. They'll give him 4 on that one. It's 3rd and 6. Trying to pick up a first down. Wants to throw again. Fires to the right. And that one falls incomplete, trying to get a chunk play on that one. Georgia lining up to punt it away. He's going to try to flip the field with this one. They'll get down and put a stop to the return at about the 28-yard line. They'll christen this drive from the 28-yard line. Off the play fake on first down to throw. It's a pick. He threw it right into the double coverage. And he's wrapped up after a solid return on the pick.
Sometimes the quarterback puts that zip on it, and you can hear it. Sometimes he uses the lob wedge where it takes a little time to get there. That time, he used the lob wedge, and the defender came in and made the interception. Big play for this defense early.
We're ready to get another look at this Bulldog offense. They've gotten very little done on their first 3 possessions, hoping this one will be more productive. Finds his tight end. Forced out of bounds, and they'll mark it dead at the 34. And the Bulldogs with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. One back in the backfield, and they'll give it to him. Not much room to run. Let's give him 1 to the 33. They're looking at a 3rd down and short from the 33. They'll run the sneak for it.
And David, on 3rd and inches right there, that's often a decision the quarterback predetermines. Who's my best guard? That's the guy I'm going to try to get behind.
And I know that defensively, too, but I'm just trying to dive and create a pile, but it's so hard to stop that play. That's why you see it ran so successfully.
Guys, LSU has the lead here, and we've reached the end of one. Before we move on, let's take a look at our stats so far. Now to see if these guys can get back in the game in the second quarter. To the air, it's Stockton. Pocket breaking down. Catch in the middle, it's Barber. He's there to make the stop, but not before. He sets up this offense, 1st and goal from the 7. The Bulldogs are rolling down the field. They'll dial up the run on 1st and goal. He pushes his way down to the 4 as they get closer and closer. 2nd and goal coming up. Tight end in motion, see how the D reacts. With jet sweep pass. Give him 6. Touchdown Bulldogs!
Really nice job working the route and getting himself open. He was able to locate the football, snag it out of the air, and this guy now has 5 receiving touchdowns on the year.
Setting up for the extra point and the top. And he did make that extra point, no issue with the treacherous footing. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Dynamite matchup in the Big Ten, fellas. Let's show you what's going down. Ohio State is in front. They've led for most of the game. However, Brutus isn't exactly putting this one in the win column just yet. They're up by 7 over Maryland. We'll let you know if anything else comes out of Big Ten country from this one, guys.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. Quarterback on the keeper. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender. The Dogs are barking and growling and trying to hold him here on 3rd down. From the gun, wants to pass. Oh, they really could have used that catch there. Physical pass defense. It brings up a fourth down. Looks as if LSU will line up to punt it away. Let's see if he can help the coverage team out with this one. Makes the signal, secures the fair catch, and they'll put it in play at the 37. Opening snap of this drive comes from the 38-yard line. Looking downfield, it's Stockton. Pass rush coming after the quarterback, and they get him at the 32. How about that Bayou Bengal defensive front showing some dominance? Booger McFarland, Marcus Spears-like in their pressure.
And that defensive line getting to the quarterback, and they got so many guys that we could name like Spears that you just mentioned, like Booger in the past that put on that purple and gold, look good, big physical guys that fill out them uniforms and eat quarterbacks.
Looking to fire. That's reeled in. It's Barber. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. Guys, let's chat about Georgia. Boy, did they have a big pickup in recruiting. Stud in the secondary. 5-star defensive back. Gives them a verbal. What a huge boost for this program, David.
This is enormous. Getting a guy in the back end, a 5-star guy like that, dude, it's plug and play. And those...
Here comes the rush, and they've got him wrapped up at the 28.
And after that last sack, man, you could just see it. They are feeling themselves. After pitching a shutout last week, after dominating early in this game, it just seems like they're playing with a different aggression and a different level of intensity than what their opponent is. They have been so dominant.
Georgia sends out the punt team. 3 and out, and not much choice but to get rid of the ball. He couldn't find much running room there. Didn't get a lot of blocking, and he'll step out of bounds. First snap of this drive will come from the 46. From the shotgun now, here's an inside give. And the defense snows him under after a very short gain. After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8. They'll give it to the back. They'll wrestle him down just short of the first down. I don't even think they're going to bring out the chains to measure this one. He'll keep it on the sneak.
And the QB sneak has been around for 4,000 years. Obviously some exaggeration, but so hard to stop. Quarterback gets it, starts to burrow behind that offensive line, and now you got the push behind with these guys. It's almost impossible to stop.
And I think they'll give him 2 on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. Quarterback empties his backfield. Back to throw, it's Holstein. With the catch, it's Hill. They're able to get him stopped just shy of the first down mark. The Tigers come to the line on 3rd down, trying to keep this drive alive. They'll try to run for it. Tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and what a big 3rd down stop by this defense. Hunt is on its way. And that ball will sail into the end zone for a touchback. Let's see if they can get something going here late in the half. Coming out on 1st down with the play fake. They're working that left side. And this one will be stopped for no gain. They're dealing with a 2nd and long. Back to pass. That's caught. It's White. He moves the chains, and they'll mark the ball at the 33. With the first down, they'll put it in play from the 33. Wants to go up top on 1st down. Got his man quickly. Gets it to the 46-yard line. 1st down for this offense. The clock is not their friend. Got to get everybody to the line quickly. Looking downfield on 1st down. Pulls it in. It's Taylor. Gets it all the way down to the 39-yard line. It'll be a 1st down. And the Dogs want to pick up the tempo. Just keep slinging it. Got rid of it quickly, but it's incomplete. Plenty of work to do here on 2nd and long. leaves it with the back. Big pickup on the ground here to keep this drive moving and give them a first down. The Dogs pounded the rock to move the sticks, now back to work. Use the play fake, now to throw. Snagged out of the air. Didn't pick up a lot there, moved it forward just a few. The offense will quickly use the timeout. Working well behind the sticks on second down. He'll do it himself. Turning it on. Got some room headed to the goal line. And he runs it in for the score. Touchdown, Georgia.
And the offense breaks the tie, takes the lead, gains some momentum. How big is this, Palmer, now going into the half with the lead, with the momentum?
Well, they break the tie, but they also break their confidence a little bit now. The opponent now has to go into the locker room probably down, and they're wondering, what adjustments do we have to make? What do we have to fix? Because we've got our work cut out for us in this game.
Lining up for the PAT. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. So it's an 80-yard drive. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. On the move from inside his 5. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. They'll get a chance to work on that hurry-up offense here in the final minute of the first half. Fires to the tight end. There's a timeout on the field. Tight game here late in the first half. He'll keep it himself. Thrust that arm out. And they'll stop him just short of the first down, just inches away from moving the sticks. On third and short, trying to impose their will and move the chains. And he just needed a few inches, and the defense was surly and nasty and said, no, sirree. Punt is in the air. He will signal for the fair catch and take it just inside the 35. They go to the ground. Just sort of a relentless run, getting everything that was available to him, and they'll mark him down at the 40. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. Scanning the field, it's Stockton. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. And he's brought down after a nice gain. Time dwindling away as they try to put points on the board right before the half. Grabbed over the middle, it's Taylor. Stop is made at the 36, but he picked up 10 on that one and has a fresh set of downs. And quickly to the line of scrimmage, they spike it and stop the clock. So with only seconds left in the half, here comes the field goal unit. Dead center perfect. And that will extend their lead even further. First half in the books. Time now to join Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, looks like we've had a compelling start to things there in Athens. And we'd be remiss if we didn't start this halftime report by giving props to this superstar tight end. He's been almost, you know what, check that. He has been unguardable with that unusual blend of speed, size, hands, and route running. He is a pick-your-poison kind of player. And with that, let's send it back to the fellows between the hedges in Sanford Stadium.
Ready to get things going here in the second half as Georgia about to kick it away. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. They'll snap it from the 20 for the opening play of this drive. First play of the drive, wants to throw. Caught. And they knock him down. There was nowhere to go. Defense is swarming. LSU quick to the line. The give to the single back. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
And coming out in the second half, this offense, they needed to establish this run game. They needed to get something going. They're losing. They've got to find a way to get a flow, to get a rhythm. And so far here to start this second half, defense picking up where it left off.
He'll loft one deep down the left side. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. LSU will bring the punt team on the field. They've been busy out there to punt for the 5th time today. Fair catch is called for in the midst of all this rain. Concentrate on one thing. Make the catch. Off the play fake on first down to throw. It's incomplete and maybe a little too aggressive from this senior trying to fit that one in there. Backed up now, here's 2nd and long. Now the play fake. Catch in the middle, it's Taylor. And the defense makes the immediate tackle, but he has enough for the first down. Back to throw, it's Stockton. Got him downfield. Finally corralled, but not before. He picks up the first down. Georgia coming out with a fresh set of downs. The Dogs have had a long history of scrappy and efficient quarterbacks. Add a little star power to it, and you've got something working.
You definitely...
Throws toward the end zone. And it's caught. Touchdown, Dogs! No midseason concentration laps here in Week 7 as they push out that lead.
And it's so underrated. The relationship between a QB and a wide receiver, the timing, the ability to know where he's going to be and be accurate with the football, that's what leads to nice touchdowns, Jesse.
Well, the chemistry between these two guys has to be great when they're throwing into the field because coverage is going to be tight. The throw might not be perfect, but this is something these two guys have been repping in practice over and over and over, and it's paying dividends now on game.
We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Week to week, it's so tough to figure the ACC, which is why this one is notable. Wake Forest is in front. They've controlled the line of scrimmage to this point, but look at that score. This is a close game. They're up by a field goal over Duke. Never know what's going to happen in the ACC, and we'll circle back. If anything develops, you should know about it.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. 2nd down, they'll go to the air. Slides away. And the pressure gets him back at the 8-yard line.
And this offensive line's got to do a better job. Man, you got to protect your quarterback. Listen, this offense is not playing great. They got to somehow find a way to start to get something together here in the second half.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On 3rd and long, hoping to throw beyond the sticks. And that did not work. Defense smelled that one out from the beginning. Looks as if LSU will line up to punt it away. 3 and out, they got stuck in reverse. They hope the punt can bail them out. And the punt team gets down there and gets the return man on the ground. And Georgia ready to go back to work on offense. Back to pass, it's Stockton. The short hands, it's Frazier. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. It's complete. What a nice connection. Knocked down immediately, and they've got it at the 25. Wants to throw on first down. He is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. They'll lose yards on that one. And the Bulldogs have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. They'll move the tight end. Wants to fire on 2nd down. Caught behind the line. It's Frazier. He's brought down, but he went backwards after that completion, not the way they had it drawn up. On 3rd and long, he'll need to loosen up that arm. And the throw out to the sideline, good for just a few yards. They'll try to get something out of this drive and kick the field goal here on 4th down. He just barely got enough of that one and just barely kept it straight enough, too. And that lead grows even bigger.
Man, so many more times we're going to say, go for it, be aggressive. Nice to have a guy you can depend on, and you know you're putting 3 on the board. Nice kick, nice job.
On the run from inside his own 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. This drive will start from the 19-yard line. Looking to throw on first down. Fires to the wideout. Incomplete. He had to get rid of it before he wanted to. The defense put the heat on. So now it's 2nd and long. Wants to go up top. Under fire. And the defense makes a play, sacking him back at the 10.
And he was virtually unblockable on that play. You know, it reminds me of seeing the highlights of my partner here, David Pollock, a guy that doesn't like to talk about his own greatness, so I'll do it for him. David raised the bar in the standard for D-line play at the University of Georgia. It was his athleticism. It was his tenacity. He wasn't just getting sacks and tackles for losses. He was picking off passes and taking them to the house. He was like the honey badger before the honey badger, but playing D-line all time.
LSU will bring the punt team on the field. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. A fair catch is called for and made just across the 50-yard line. We're ready to get another look at this Bulldog offense. They had this thing in a hammerlock at halftime, and now they are really ratcheting up the pressure, David.
And I tell you what, this offense doesn't have to change a thing, Paul. They've done what they wanted in the first half and starting off the second half in the same fashion.
And I like how they're letting different guys get involved, too. They've got so many different playmakers all over the field.
Just too much of a rush, and down goes the quarterback just behind the midfield stripe at the 49. He is a menace rushing the passer, career sack number 20.
I mean, some people just have a knack for getting to the quarterback. What a great job throughout his career. Getting there, getting him down, getting pressures. He has been a quarterback's worst nightmare.
I was just going to say, David, you don't sleep well as a quarterback the night before you have to play against this guy because he is going to sack you. That is a guarantee. Death, taxes, and sacks for that guy.
Another punt on the way. Got to make sure those hammies and glutes all activated. Don't want any muscle pulls from overuse. A lot of field in front of them as they open this possession from their own 20. Tight end now in motion. Off the play fake on first down. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces 2nd down. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. Here's the fly sweep. He's going to lose a yard on that one. Guys, this offense is already reeling down multiple possessions. Really need to cash in on this drive. To the air, it's Holstein. Spins away from the defender. They'll stop him at the 24, and that brings up 4th down. Looks as if LSU will line up to punt it away. This is a spot you see many returners try to take a chance, but not this time. The fair catch just inside the 40. Keeps it on the bootleg. Makes the grab. No chance to run, but still a solid pickup on that one. And talk about spreading the ball around. Everyone getting a chance to show off the hands based on the number of targets we've seen. As we start the 4th quarter, it'll take a pretty sizable comeback to win this one. So the final period starts with a 2nd down play. From the gun, running back on the move. Breaks into the open. They finally get him on the ground, but he's got an explosive play for the 1st down. The Bulldogs just got that huge run. They love another explosive play. Nice pickup on the ground there. They'll move the sticks for the 1st down. The defense is backed up as the offense is in the red zone. Running the red zone, it's Frazier. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. To the air, it's Stockton. Completes it in the middle. Now the connection takes it to the 11. Really need to pick up this conversion and avoid having to settle for the field goal. Takes it on the shovel. They make the tackle, but he's got a fresh set of downs, and it's 1st and goal from the 7. They'll try to get it in with the run. He pushes it forward all the way to the 2-yard line. Now the offense tries to punch it in on 2nd and goal. Looking to fire. And the defense makes a play, sacking him back at the 10.
And, man, this offense was sitting in such good position. I like the play call. I like being aggressive, but if you don't have something open right away, throw that football into the ground. Don't take a sack and now back yourself up and make it harder.
Wants to fire it in the end zone on 3rd and goal. He did not make it a stone wall on 3rd down. So this field goal unit has been getting the job done. They've already made a couple here today. It's good. He hit that one right down the middle. And they'll push that lead out a little further.
And they just tack on more points to this big lead. Listen, 4th quarter was sitting extremely pretty. All we got to do, not give up big plays, make them earn everything they get the rest this way, and we looking pretty good.
Here he comes from inside his own 5. And they'll get him on the ground as the offense comes out to start the next drive. The give to the back. He gets nothing, and they keep plowing ahead with the running game, and they've got very little to show for it. They'll send the tight end in motion. The play-action fake. And the defense makes a play, sacking him back at the 10. I think at this point you might as well try to throw the ball down the field because this dog defense is not giving an inch.
They don't give an inch. They hunt the whole entire game, and they're all highly recruited kids. They're all talented. They're all going to get drafted, but they play for each other. They play with fight. They play with aggression, and that's why you always see them near the top of the defenses in all of college football.
On 3rd and long, doesn't need to take the check down. Grabbed in the middle, it's Fleming. They'll make the stop about 3 yards short of the 1st down. Tight end in motion, see how the D reacts. Tries to get it on the ground. Oh, he's got some space. He'll get a fresh set of downs, stopped at the 31-yard line.
And the defense gives up the 1st down. And oh, here they go. They're going fast. No time to substitute. Got to communicate quickly and get back on the line of scrimmage.
Looking for a man. It's Holstein. Oh, they're after him. He'll pull it down. That's the kind of play that can really get you going as they have a 1st down at the 43. LSU right back to the line.
This is the most annoying thing in the world for a defense, is when you start to play all these plays and all these pass concepts and routes, and then you let the quarterback get outside the pocket, and he takes off, and he gets a 1st down. Like, so much to defend. That is the hardest thing to defend, because you don't know where it's going to happen on the field and when it's going to happen.
Caught near the sticks. It's Green. They'll make the stop at the 42. It's a pickup of 5, and that will be enough for a 1st down. Got a man. It's Durham. He works his way inside the 30 down to the 29 and picks up a 1st down. And the Tigers come to the line with a new set of downs. Looking to throw again. Makes the catch. It's Durham. This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on 2nd down. Back to pass. Rushes on him. Pressure is on the way, and the pressure has arrived, and down he goes at the 30. The defense all revved up after that earlier sack, and they'll try to stop him right here. And this defense goes back-to-back sack, Jack.
And this defense has done such a great job. Another sack on the day. They forced an interception. They've been flying all over the field playing great defense.
On fourth down, looking to pass. Throws toward the end zone. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. Desperately wanted to convert on fourth down, but couldn't do it. A 7-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 3. We've reached the 2-minute timeout, and they have this game in hand right now. We'll see just how aggressive they want to be on offense. On the ground, trying to pull the plug on this clock. And they're able to shove him to the turf as they stop him for a short gain. Bully ball on 3rd and short. They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple. Georgia lining up to punt it away. He'll try to really get into this one. He'll get it to about the 25 before they put a stop to the return. The drive starts from their own 25-yard line. Rides the back on the option to give. Runs through the tackle. He's knocked down behind the line of scrimmage again, and this just hasn't been his day. Nowhere to run. Dropping back, it's Holstein. Here comes the heat. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16. Timeout is called by the offense. They have 14 seconds left. On 3rd and long, a check down would be the last resort. Makes the grab. It's Durham. And he was knocked down immediately. Very short pickup on that one. They get the timeout call with 7 seconds left on the clock. They boot it away. Fair catch is called for. You want to make sure that you field it cleanly in rainy weather like this. Running out the clock seems to be a mere formality here as they are ready to snap it in victory formation. I know both of these teams were ranked, guys, but it really seemed as if they weren't on the same level in this game.
I think that was a pretty good statement game for these guys. I mean, you're ranked higher, you're more talented. A lot of people point to this game, possible upset, 2 really good teams. Jesse, they made it clear. There's only one really good team. It was them. They were the favorite, and they just made a point of it.
You're right. Not all ranked teams are created equal. One of these teams is a college football playoff contender. The other simply is not. And that demonstrated itself today. The higher-ranked team is a team with national championship aspirations. They've got so much talent. They look good today.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.